All right, lesson 15.6, markup rate based on cost. Your objective today is to calculate the markup rate based on cost. Markup rate formula equals markup divided by cost. Now, one formula that you're also going to need to know is simply markup, which we have been doing for several days. Okay, formula for markup is selling price minus cost. Okay, selling price minus cost. So go ahead and get that down, and when you are press pause while you're doing that. When you're done, resume when you're ready. Okay, so we're moving along. Now, this first example is exceptionally easy. It says the table company purchases a dinette set for $880 from the manufacturer. It sells a set for $1,188. What is the markup rate based on cost? Okay, so what we've got to do is we first got to find our markup. Take the selling price minus the purchase price or the cost, and you end up with $308. Now, 308 is our markup. Take 308 divided by the cost of 880, and you should get 0.35, which means we have a markup rate of 35%. Okay? Pretty easy stuff. Let's go ahead and let's look at problems numbers 1 and 2. Go ahead, press pause, take a couple minutes to work these. Press play when you're ready. Okay, so let's take a look at problems 1 and 2. Number 1 says the selling price of a jacket is $97.50. Cost is $58.50. Find the difference between the two, and that's your markup. You should get $39. Okay. Now take 39 divided by 58.50, your cost, and you should get 0.667. Okay, that's actually 0.6667. So that's going to round to 66.7%. All right, number 2, and that's your markup rate. Okay, number 2, 148 minus 74 is 74. 74 divided by your cost of 74 is 1, which is 100% markup rate. Okay, pretty easy there. Let's go ahead and let's move on to the second example, and you really need to pay attention to this. Okay, this says the Main Street store sells 33-gallon trash containers for $19.99 after a markup rate based on cost of 120%. Find the A cost and the B markup. Okay, so before we start this, let's look at what we know. Let's write it down. We know that the selling price is $19.99. We know that the markup rate is 120%, but in decimal form, it's 1.2. All right? Now, let's think about the formulas we know. Okay? The first formula for markup that we learned several days ago is simply markup equals selling price minus cost. Okay? And the formula that we learned today is markup rate markup rate equals markup divided by cost. Now, if we look at what we know the selling price and we know the markup rate. Okay? That leaves markup in both formulas, and it leaves cost in both formulas that we don't know. Okay? So in order for us to figure out how to do this, we need to go ahead, let's define our variable, what we're looking for. First thing that we're going to find, we're going to let C equal cost. Okay? And to do that, we're going to have to manipulate our formulas so that we can only use one variable. All right? The best way to do this is to take our formula from today. Markup rate equals markup cost. All right? And we're going to simply multiply both sides by cost. Okay? We're going to multiply both sides by cost. It's going to cancel here. All right? It's going to leave me, it's virtually the same formula, it's just in a different format. It's, my new formula is markup rate times cost equals markup. Okay? Now, if you think back to when you did systems of equations, okay, you did a little thing called substitution. Well, that's exactly what we're using here. We've got markup equals markup rate times cost, and markup equals sell price minus cost. So, if markup equals this, and markup equals this, if we set this formula equal to this formula, it should give us the answer. So what we're going to do, the formula that we need to use in order for this to work is going to be markup rate times cost equals selling price minus cost. Okay? That's the only way this will work. And all we did is we manipulated our formulas, so we got a value for markup. Okay? This is our key right here. All right? Markup equals markup. Okay? That's always going to be the same thing. Markup equals markup. So, let's go ahead and let's do part A. Okay? Part A wants us to find the cost. We've identified my variable as C equals cost. Now, my markup rate, I know this. My markup rate is 1.2. I don't know cost. I'm using the variable 1.2C equals my selling price is $19.99 minus cost minus C. So, there we go. Now I've got the formula set up with one variable. I need to add C to both sides. Okay? And remember, there's an understood 1 in front of the variable. Okay, so 1.2C plus 1C is 2.2C equals $19.99. Divide both sides by 2.2. $19.99 divided by 2.2 tells me my cost equals $9.09. All right? That's part A. Part B. Part B wants us to find the markup. Well, looking back at my formula that I'd already had down, markup equals selling price minus cost. Well, I just found my cost. I already know my selling price. So, $19.99 minus $9 $909. Okay? 1999 minus 909 is $10.90 is my markup. Alright? It's not too tough as long as you identify your variables and can walk yourself through it. If you have trouble with that, you may have a little tough time on this. But let's go ahead. Let's look at the next problem, and I want you to try it. Okay? Try this out. Press pause while you're working at it, and then resume when you're ready. Okay. So with this problem, I went ahead and I copied the formulas back over to here. Okay, so we can see them. Let's see here. Now, this says a can of tennis balls has an 85% markup rate based on cost. Mel Sporting Goods sells a can of tennis balls for $3.40. What is the cost? What is the markup? Okay, so write down what you know. Your markup rate is 85% or 0.85. Your selling price is $3.40. Okay, now remember we use this formula right here, this bottom one that we determined. Okay, markup rate times cost. So, and we're going to let C equal cost. Okay, so 0.85 C, and this is part A. 0.85 C equals 340 minus C. Add C to both sides, and it's a 1C again. You get 1.85 C equals 340. Divide both sides by 1.85. Plug that in your calculator real fast. 340 divided by 1.85. And you get C to be equal to $1.84. That's your cost. Okay? Now, part B wants us to find the markup. Formula for markup is selling price minus cost. So 340 minus $1.84. 340 minus $1.84 in the calculator tells me that my markup is $1.56. Okay? Good. Here's your assignment. Lesson 15.6, page 571, 1 through 16 and 20. Get busy on your work.